Hello everyone and welcome back to our YouTube channel.
It's super cloudy today, which I'm actually really excited about, because when you're working outside all day in the blistering heat, it's nice to have a cloudy day. It is still very humid, so I'm still going to be sweating lots, but it's much nicer than it usually is.
And thank you so much for all of the comments on the last video. We do read through every single comment, even though there's an awful lot of them. So please, if you have any suggestions for anything that you see going on in the videos, be sure to comment.
And thank you to Amaze for sponsoring this video. They've got a really cool competition going on and they're giving you a chance to win a brand new 4x4 Sprinter van. So check it out at amaze.com/indie.
We're the Indie Project, Bee and Theo, and we've been living and travelling the world in vans for the past 6 years. We're currently renovating an abandoned stone barn in Portugal to turn it into a beautiful tiny home for us and our cat, Ginjey Bear. Follow our journey from the very beginning as we document the whole process of creating an off-grid home.
So this is not how I was expecting today to go. We had a surprise delivery of tiles. As you can see behind me, 2 whole piles, which equates to 1,000 individual tiles that we spent a whole hour unloading off the truck with the delivery guy, and it was sweaty work because it's about 80% humidity today. So we really feel like there's a lot of love for these tiles now. A lot of blood, sweat and tears went into getting them here, but they're here now, so that's exciting. We've got to wait obviously until the wood arrives till they can go on the roof, but we've still got so much work to do.
Look at all these tiles, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like Bee said, there's over 1,000 of them. And there was definitely some miscommunication this morning. I just assumed that the lorry was going to turn up, it would have one of them big arms on it and it swings them off on pallets and drops them off nice and neatly into the area that we need them. But obviously that didn't happen and we had to do them manually. There was 4 different pallets. The guy was just sweating buckets, as was we. So most of his sweat over the tiles, but they're stacked up ready to go on the roof and it feels really real right now. The reason that the truck didn't have one of them swingy arms is because the company that we use for all the stone and the tiles and everything else that we're using doesn't have a small truck that has one of them arms. They have a big one, but the big one won't fit down our track. Our access isn't amazing here, so that's something to think about when you buy a place. How is the access? It's fine, but if you wanna get something delivered where you can use one of them cranes, then you're gonna need bigger access.
So the filling of the veranda is going really well. As you can see, Theo's sitting next to a massive pile of stones, and this is basically what they look like when we wheelbarrow them over from the old pile. Break them up with a hammer, as Theo's doing right now, to about that size. And look how much it's been filled in. I think even in the last video or the video before, over here was so deep. It was probably about 2 foot deep, and there was the roots there, there was all the stones sticking up here, and now we've made excellent progress, and Theo is going to show you how we do it.
So it's nothing technical at all. As Bee mentioned, the stones come over at about this size, sometimes even bigger, and the nice wide flat ones are the easiest to break. And all I do is use the hammer and it breaks up nicely, and there we have it. We got our gravel, and it saves us tons of money ordering a huge amount of gravel to fill in this area. And we will need some gravel to go on the top probably, but we might not. We've still got tons of stone out there to use up, so it's good. We're using the resources that we've already got on the property. There's no point spending money for no reason.
And this right here is the remaining pile. It has gone down quite a lot. We've been going through it, picking up rocks that are like this size. They're great. Lob them in the wheelbarrow, take them over, break them up, squash them down, and then come back and do it all over again.
So because we're at a certain level now with the veranda, it means that we're actually going to be covering over some of the holes that are in the wall, and we don't want that. We want to fill these holes in first before we put the gravel on top, so everything's nice and sealed. So what I'm going to do right now is mix up a batch of lime. Unfortunately, the mixer is with Jack and Kevin. We don't own a mixer. They're super expensive here in Portugal. I don't know what it's like the rest of the world, but here they're really expensive, so we can't afford a mixer. Just to do like small batches, it should be fine with this attachment that we've got for the drill. We're going to try it, see how it works. But yeah, it's all these gaps that I need to fill in. These ones are okay, they can wait because that's above where the gravel's going to be, but I want to get all of this sealed in and ready because we're kind of making moves really quickly.
So Theo's just basically doing a lime mixture to fill in those gaps, but like he said, because we don't have a cement mixer, we're doing it ourselves in the wheelbarrow, and it's basically, I think he's doing half the normal amount that he normally does because we don't need that much. A quarter, he's doing a quarter the amount that we normally do, and it's the same principle, lime, sand, water, so he's just measuring it all out now, putting it together, and then we'll mix it, and then he can slap it all in the gaps.
So I've got my square trowel and I've got my pointing key, and basically all I'm going to do, scoop up some lime, put the square trowel as close as I can to the hole that I want to fill, and then just scoop it in with the pointing key. And then all I'm going to do is find a stone that fits the hole, this one hopefully, and then just push it in.
Now I'm just going to sit back and leave Theo to fill the holes in on his own, and actually take a minute to talk to you guys about today's sponsor, which is Amaze. They have an unbelievably amazing prize for you to win today. It is a Mercedes-Benz 4x4 Sprinter van with $60,000 worth of customizations by Van Smith. Now, me and Theo absolutely love van life. If you didn't know already, we live full time in our Sprinter van. When we're not doing the barn conversion, we're driving around the world, and we can't wait to ship our van over to North America and continue our journey. Traveling in a van and exploring in a van is so much fun because you have your home comforts with you, you have a comfy bed, you've got your own space wherever you go, and you can just really enjoy new places without feeling rushed. And each donation supports Access Fund, whose mission is to protect public lands, restore climbing areas and repair impacted trails. So for your chance to win a fully customisable Mercedes-Benz 4x4 Sprinter van and support a great cause, head to amaze.com/indie, and we have a link in the description so you don't miss it. I think I can hear a truck coming. I wonder if we're getting another delivery.
It's been a crazy day for deliveries. We just received 2 more. We got a bucket load of sand.
A bucket? Lorry load?
This is fine sand. This is what we're going to be pointing the barn with, so we need lots of it. If you come over here, you'll see we got some big yellow drainage tubing, and I'll tell you what that's for in a minute. Then there's some drainage, what's it called? Drainage nodular matting or something. And then over here there's a Ginjey Bear. And here we got a load of gravel.
It's gravel!
And also this is for our drainage as well. Come over here and I'll show you what it's for. So I know a lot of you eagle-eyed viewers have noticed that the ground at the back of the barn is a lot higher, and that is not good because the water runoff can seep into the walls, and when we're living in there, that's exactly what we don't want. So we're going to rectify that, and that is why we've received all of the drainage stuff ready. Once the roof's on, we're going to move on to drainage, but before the roof actually goes on, we need to dig a drainage trench all the way around the barn, completely 360 degrees. And then what we'll do is we'll lay the piping in there, and then we'll have gravel on top, and then we'll have some nice French drains so it'll look nice at the back, maybe some slabs to make it look even more pretty, and that will keep all the water runoff away from the barn. It'll stay nice and dry inside.
Clearing out all of the soil around the edge of the barn will also give us the perfect opportunity to fill in, like Theo's been doing out the front, all of the cracks in between the stone so that it's doubly, triply, mega protected against moisture.
So there's a new update inside the barn that we've not showed you guys, and you know we love our cat. So we have chiseled out a cat flap into the stone. Look at that. Perfect for Ginjey Bear to come in and out of the building. I'm actually lying, that is not the case at all. That is where all of our utilities are going to come into the building and out as well. So we're going to have our grey water leaving there, we're going to have our fresh water coming in, and also we're going to have our electric cables coming through there as well. And then we're just neating it up at the end and point over it.
So talking of eagle-eyed viewers, quite a lot of you actually noticed the prickly pears behind me in last week's video when we were down with the vines and I had all the grapes. There was a massive prickly pear plant behind me. PPP, God, that's a tongue twister, because we've actually got two really substantial plants on the property. We've got one by the big well and one right here, which isn't actually that far from the barn, which is a lovely view to see. And right now, it's prickly pear season, all of the little fruits are coming out. You can't just pick them off the tree though. Obviously it's a cactus and they are covered, absolutely covered in tiny little hairs. And I did actually pick some 2 years ago and tried to make some syrup with them, but I got about halfway and then it went a bit manky. But anyway, they're fun to pick, they're absolutely beautiful inside, so we're definitely going to try and do something with them this year. I'm thinking maybe I'll try and make syrup again, but I definitely need to make sure I've got the correct equipment because the hairs are such a pain to get out. So as well as the prickly pears and the grapes you saw in the last video and all the figs that we harvested not long ago, we've got a couple of different other trees on the property that give food. Behind me we've got an orange tree. We've actually got 3 of these. Right now the oranges are nowhere near ready to eat. They look like gigantic limes but when they are ripe they produce so many oranges we literally don't know what to do with them. Now, one of the most abundant trees we've got growing on our property has got to be olives. There's over 30 of them on our property. You can make olive oil from them or you can eat them as is, but not straight off the tree because they're disgustingly bitter. You've got to cure them first. And last but by no means least, we've got 2 really beautifully mature apple trees and some quince trees, and also blackberry bushes that love to take over any kind of plant, any well, whatever they can. So we've got a really good selection of food producing trees on the land that we don't even have to really do anything to. Come on. So I like to sit up here with the chickens. Betty's very trusting. She does think that my ears are the occasional treat. But I've been spending a lot of time up here with the chickens, gaining their trust. Mary even lets me touch her now, which she never used to, although I am still pretty confident that Mary is going to be a cockerel. I'm ready for it to go for the piss. Are you going to climb on my head? Is today the day?
So as you can see, Bee has been spending a lot of time in the chicken enclosure with the chickens, just gaining their trust and just hanging out with them. She really enjoys it. The chickens seem to enjoy it, and I think it's going to be useful later on in our relationship with the chickens.
As you can see, the enclosure is really close to being done. Just a couple more things to do and it's going to be finished. The predator skirt is down, it is working, but it needs to be covered up. And quite a few of you mentioned the height of the enclosure, so we're waiting for some materials to come through so we can finish it, keep the chickens in and keep the predators out. And once the enclosure's done, I'm really looking forward to doing some things in there, like making a chicken swing, because these two just love to have fun.
So we're pretty much there. It's nearly completed. Like Bee mentioned, we just need to get that poultry netting to go right over the top. It means that the chickens can't fly out and the predators can't get in. But look at this, look how much they love figs.
We wanted to just sit down and basically answer a question that we get in every single video, and that is, how did we end up here in Portugal, converting a barn, how are we affording it and so forth. So we thought we'd sit down and just talk through it with you.
I think it was like in 2013,
yeah.
We were in an apartment, renting it in Birmingham, and it just didn't feel right, did it?
No, we were spending so much money on rent and also trying to save for a mortgage because we were still on track back then. We thought we needed to buy a house because that's just what everyone did. It didn't sit quite right with us.
No, so we decided to make the decision to basically just try and stay mortgage free. And that's exactly what we've managed to do. We're even on a Netflix show called How to Live Mortgage Free with Sarah Beanie.
Yeah, they filmed that when we were living on our narrowboat. But before we got to the narrowboat, we moved out of our apartment and moved into a very small van, much smaller than the one we have now, a VW T4.
And we travelled for about a year in that van. And we just lived off savings. We didn't know where we were going to go, what we were going to do, and how long the money was going to last, did we?
Yeah, no, we had no idea, but we knew that we wanted to continue living an alternative lifestyle. We really enjoyed not paying rent, having our own space that was completely ours, and that's how we ended up on the narrowboat, because it's very similar to van life, boat life.
In the UK, it's really affordable to live on a narrowboat. There is quite a lot of maintenance that you have to do with a boat, but the actual living costs are so much more affordable than living in rented accommodation or getting a mortgage.
Yeah, it's so much cheaper, and we were both working full-time at that point, so your money goes a lot further, it's a lot easier to save, and that basically put us in the position for when we sold our narrowboat to buy our new van.
And we sold our old van, we sold our narrowboat, and then we bought the Sprinter van and did that conversion. When did we buy the land?
We bought this place in 2017.
Right, so it's been a while already.
Yeah, it has been a while, and we never bought it to immediately move on to it or immediately do stuff with it. In fact, we weren't planning on doing the barn conversion for a while.
Time. Yeah, I think, you know what it was? It was just kind of like, we had some savings and we just wanted to invest in our life. We wanted a base, we wanted somewhere that we could call home, that was physically ours, and we managed to pay for that cash.
Yeah, we still never could envision, and I still can't, ever living in a normal house. We've spoken about it in past videos and on our Instagram stories about where we come from in Birmingham. This is such a far cry to living in the second largest city in the United Kingdom, but it is totally where we want to be. And basically living the way we do, it's completely different to being in a house. When you think about it, we're off grid, so we don't have to pay for water.
Yeah, our bills are just next to nothing. Like, our money goes so far. We get our water from our own well. We can grow our own food. We got our own fruit.
Our energy comes from the sun. Yes, we have to buy gas, but that lasts for so long, doesn't it? The gas bowls.
What is it, like €20? Probably lasts us a few months.
It's a long time, and that's another reason why a lot of people do end up living in vans or alternative living, because generally it is a lot cheaper than having a mortgage or buying a house. Well, it's the same thing, but you know, it's just so much better.
It's the ethos as well of being self-sufficient. I've never wanted to really rely on people, and I don't like relying on people. I like to do stuff myself, and I don't like asking favours or anything like that. So having your own piece of land was always, you know, a big dream for me. You can be here and you can do whatever you want.
And I know some people are going to be like, so you were working full-time when you were on the narrowboat, what are you doing now? Well, YouTube is our full-time job, and it has been for quite a few years now, and I know that's surprising to some people who've never even thought of being able to make money online, but This is how we make a living.
And we were building up our YouTube channel and basically working a full-time job doing YouTube, as well as working a full-time job when we were in the city as well. So it was really pretty hard work, and we had to make the decision to take the gamble and walk away from them jobs and do this really full time.
But we love it. This is honestly the best, and documenting this whole barn conversion is so rewarding because it's lovely to share it with so many people around the world.
Yeah.
And also we go back through the footage and we're just like, wow, a month ago the barn was so different, and now it's got a wall, it's got the veranda, all the brambles, the roof is gone. It's just mad.
I've been a filmmaker since I was like 14. I think I got my first freelance job when I was like 16. For Birmingham City Council, and it made sense for me to make videos and put them on YouTube, didn't it?
Yeah, it's totally natural for you.
It's just what I love to do, photography and filmmaking. I just really enjoy it, and it's so good to be able to enjoy our lives and enjoy our job, and to have you guys along for the ride, it's even better.
Yeah, so I hope you've really learnt a little bit more about us from that little bit of information, but yeah, that's how we are where we are right now.
So we've just jumped in the car. I would love an actual tractor, but we have the Passatra, so maybe I'll get a tractor one day. But we're heading down the bottom of the land to one of our wells where we're going to do some maintenance. So originally we wanted these tanks to be black, and the reason for that is algae doesn't grow as easily if it's in a dark environment. Unfortunately, they're really hard to get hold of in Portugal. I haven't found anywhere locally I can get black tanks. You have to go to Spain, which is a really big faff because that's very far away. But anyway, I'm going to look inside and it's going to be full of algae. So that's the maintenance I was talking about. We're going to empty this tank, get rid of all the algae, and then we're good to go. It doesn't really matter. We're only really using this water at the moment to mix all of the lime. We do use it for drinking through our Lifesavers jerry can as well, but that filters out everything anyway, so it's not a problem. So as expected, you can see the algae inside there, and we have actually just had the well water tested and it came back really positive. The water's really clean and actually really good. So if you guys are wondering why we don't just cover this tank over right now with some black material or something like that, it's because we're actually going to move this tank in a few weeks' time to above the barn, and the long-term plan is to have tanks that gravity feed water into our house, so we don't need to use any electric. All we need to do is pump the water from the well all the way to the tanks, and then we have running water in the house, so should be really good. We also just brought this 25mm rigid pipe. We used to have a flexible pipe and it just wasn't very good. The flow coming out of it wasn't very quick, and this has sped it up by about 3 times, so we can fill this tank up way quicker. I can't believe that I'm actually finally walking on this nearly finished veranda. It just looks beautiful. All of our blood, sweat and tears is in that floor, and I wish we could kind of epoxy resin the whole thing so people could always see it, but it's going to be covered over by a layer of gravel, then a layer of sand, and then we're going to put some really beautiful tiles down, and I just can't wait to sit out here with a cold drink and look at the view. I think we're going to wrap the video up there, but don't forget to head to amaze.com/indie for your chance to win that beautiful 4x4 Sprinter van. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.